another story. Currently headed through the Finger Lakes here in New York. Thought I would let this one run a little long afterwards so you can enjoy the drive. This is another story of yet another 1977 Lincoln Towncar trip to Darien Lake. The first one was with the black Lincoln Towncar that 1924 that broke down. Shortly before we had left to go to Darien Lake on that, the shifter handle had broke right off the column, and my father had a pair of vice grips on there for a shifter. But it ended up being the motor went in that car, lower end, the little, they had the 460 big block in it. So my father found another 77 Lincoln Towncar, not that far from where we lived. This one was white, same, basically the identical car mechanically as the first one. This was white with white interior, white vinyl top, but the dash, carpet, and door panels were red. I thought that, and the interior looked like it was brand new in the thing. I thought it was really cool looking. It had a moonroof, the other one did not. But the body was rusted pretty bad. Rear quarters were shot, all the doors had rust spots all over them. So originally it was bought for the motor to put into the black one, because the black one had a much better body. But my father ended up throwing it on the road and started driving it. So it's first long trip we took, we drove the thing to Darien Lake, because that's what we do every summer, or did every summer, was go to Darien Lake 2, 3, 4 times a year. We had season passes. Back then cost $25 for the season. So I don't even know if I think it's $50, $60 to get in for the day now, and then they've got a water park now, which is even separate. But anyway, back to the car. So we were driving home, coming into Palmyra again. Different way into town this time, but the car started to spit and sputter, and we made it to the top of this hill. Now, mind you, it was probably 11 o'clock at night at this time. Between 11 and midnight, God knows we probably closed the park down like we did every time we were there. And it was me, my father, my mother, my little sister, and my niece. So I had been, 13, maybe 14 at the time. My little sister was probably 10, and my niece was 6. So we were, like I said, we're at the top of the hill. Car dies. Luckily, there's a street light. There's like an intersection where this road veered wide off to the left, right as you crested the hill. Just as you started to come down it. So we were facing downhill. And my father stopped right underneath the street light on the shoulder of the road. And we got out, we tried this, and we tried that, and it just wouldn't fire, and it wouldn't fire. And so we were working out for a little bit, then the battery started to die. So all of a sudden this guy goes by us, going up the hill, turns around, comes back, parks behind us, gets out. Says, "Oh, I'm Chucky." Had on one of those mesh fedoras that were big in the 80s with the bandanas on them with sayings. I make shit happen on it. He's driving like a 1976, 7, somewhere in there, late 70s Chevy Chevette, rusted to hell. So my father's like, "Well, I don't know, maybe we could jump start it, see, or at least put, jump it, see if we can get it to start fire up." So Chuck, "Sure, we'll try it." Goes down the road, turns around, comes back up the hill, so his car is facing our car. Shuts it off. Car was a standard shift. Rusted out little piece of crap. Noisy exhaust. Gets out, goes into the hatch, pulls out a little one of those toolboxes, throws it underneath the back tire. That emergency brake doesn't work. That's my wheel chock. Fires up. We try jump starting it. It will not start. Just cranks and cranks and cranks and cranks. So at that point, we're like, all right, it's dead. What do we do? He's like, well, I push you into town. We were like on the edge of the outskirts of town. We said, I grew up in Palmyra. He goes, there's a 24-hour diner in town. We're like, all right. He goes, if you want, he says, I can park the car there, and he says, I can take you back to your house if you want, get something else to drive or blah, blah, blah. So he says, I'll push you. Mind you, now he's going to push this 5,000-pound Lincoln with his little Chevette. So I was like, sure, okay. At the bottom of the hill, it does start to go uphill through the village with stop signs everywhere. So my father gets in, puts the car in neutral, he gets his car fired up, turns it around, gets back behind us, starts pushing us down, or kind of coast down the hill. We get to the bottom of the hill, he lines up behind us, starts to push us, and my father's like, this thing is not going to push us up the hill. He gets right up to it and just floors that thing. That little car was screaming, pushing this car up the hill. Partway up the hill, there's a stop sign. So my father stops, waves them to go. You hear him back there revving it up, pops the clutch, smoking the tires, pushes us up partway up the hill. And that thing is just, it's just screaming. So he does manage to push us all the way to the diner. We get put in a parking spot at the diner. My mother, we all go inside. I think we bought him a cup of coffee. My sister and my mother and my niece get comfy in a booth. And we lived probably about an hour, maybe an hour and a half from where we were. So he's like, yeah, you pay gas and tolls, I'll drive you home. So my father and I get in the car with him. Stop at a gas station, fills it up with premium unleaded in his little crap box he's driving. So we get on the throughway. This thing, I don't know if he was drunk, if the car was just a mess, but we're just drifting all over the road. He'd keep the wheels straight and the car would just wander to the right. He'd have to bring it back. And it'd wander to the left. He'd have to bring it back. So we finally get to our house to grab the station wagon that my brother had came and picked us up with earlier that same summer when the other Lincoln Towncar broke down. He pulls in the yard, and my father goes in the house, gets the keys to the 77 Ford LTD 2 station wagon with the 351M modified 400 big block with an automatic, hits the key, cranks and cranks and cranks and cranks and cranks, no fire. Are you freaking kidding me? So he tries again. We're trying it. Throws some starter fluid in it. Trying it. So now his father smells like it's probably freaking flooded. So he changes the oil. Pulls all the spark plugs out. Now mind you, it's like 2:30 in the morning. Pulls the oil pan out from underneath the car in the middle of the driveway. Off to the side. He's starting to get frustrated. He comes out of the driver's seat, walks around to the front of the car, steps with his brand new sneakers, white sneakers, right into the oil pan. Totally ruins the sneaker. So he goes over and grabs the electronic brain module thing that has to do with the spark. Tries changing that. Does this. Does that. Changes the distributor. We probably worked on that car for 3 hours. Finally, it fires up. Just out of nowhere, just fired up. All this time, Chucky's been sleeping it off in his car. So we get the car running, drive out, pick up my mom, my sister, my niece, and talk to them. And the people at the diner said, yeah, you can leave it here. So we drive home, get everybody in bed. So now, I think this is like Saturday or Sunday. So my father goes and rents one of those dollies you put the front wheels up on and tow behind your car. Picks up grabs our 79 Jeep Wagoneer that we had gone to Florida with a few years ago. It's pretty rough shape at this point. Him and I head out there with that, and we get it up on the dollies. Oops, I got a DOT stop. Get it going. Start leaving there. We're coming down the highway with it. It was a 2-lane highway called 104, and we're coming around a bend, and there's a red light. So now the Jeep's brakes weren't the greatest. Towing a 7,000 pound or 5,000 pound Lincoln Towncar behind us, and like I said, this car stopped. Sorry, I was checking something on my GPS. Car stopped at a light, hits the brakes. We're slowing down. We're not going to slow down enough because after we came around this bend. So he goes over on the shoulder and goes probably 3 or 4 cars. We pass on to the left and finally come to a stop. And it was a little rough one. So we take our time and finally get the car home. I ended up being with that car. He ended up selling the motor to a friend of mine's father, and he was going to use it in a truck or something. But it ended up being the timing chain blew on the car. My father put a new timing chain in it. Ran beautiful, but at that point he was just frustrated with the car, and he just sold it for the motor. So now I will be quiet as we drive through Watkins Glen. State Park is up here ahead. Beautiful Glen. We'll be headed to Hammondsport, New York. At another 31-minute drive, so I may just let her run. I'll throw in some filler music or something at this point just to cover it. Oh yeah, please like, share, subscribe, follow, thumbs up, all the fun stuff. Thanks.